Dad died in 1988. I wrote a book about boxing, a memoir about boxing, my dad and I, but I couldn't publish it. Then I wrote the Bill Walsh book, and for 10 years I've been writing a novel. And it's a lot of fun to write a novel, but it's hard for me. So I think that has something to do with it. In addition, I do a lot of writing. I write 4 columns a week, and that takes up a lot of time, and probably, maybe if I weren't doing that, I would have written books, but I'm happy to write the columns. I like that kind of work. I like the action.
Have you regretted not taking time off to write books?
No, I couldn't have anyway because I needed the money. I couldn't just take time off. I have a kid now. He's a junior at UCLA, and I certainly have to have an income to put him through. No, I have not felt that way. I have not felt that I needed to be remembered by posterity or to make a mark like that. As I say, part of what I like in daily journalism is the action. I like the drama and the feedback and the rush. I guess there's a rush in it, and I get the rush all the time, and I really like it.
How do you do your job differently at age 63 than if you had your identical job but you were 33?
Yeah. I have better judgment, meaning I know what's a better column, where to go for the column. I'm better connected with the people I need to talk to. In my writing, when I was younger, there was an anger that came out. And, Luke, I don't know where the anger came from. I don't know where it was. It was an anger that came out that when I look at and it was in a higher percentage of columns than it should have been, it embarrasses me a little bit. I think my stuff is more balanced, more mature now, and it expresses more different moods and points of view. I think I'm better now than when I was the man. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not, but that's how I experienced it. So I think I have better judgment, and I'm more economical with my time, know where to go.
How much do you not get out there and physically cover things because you're 63 instead of 30?
I cover more. It's a smaller paper, the Press Democrat, than the Chronicle, and they need me to be in more places. For example, yesterday morning, I drove from Oakland to Santa Clara and interviewed Jed York, the 27-year-old co-owner or whatever he is of the Niners. Came home, then after a few hours went down to the Coliseum Arena, interviewed Don Nelson before the game, watched the game, did stuff after the game, wrote columns and blogs. So yesterday was like a 13-hour day. I actually seem to work harder, but I seem to be physically fit enough to do it. Although I think, it concerns me how long I'll be able to do it. But I seem to work harder. At the Chronicle, I only wrote 3 columns a week. And toward the end, when I saw where it was going, it was almost like a sinecure. I didn't work hard for them. Some mornings I'd be done with my column by 9:30 and drive down to Stanford and spend the day with the Stanford football team working on my book. I was so alienated. I used to think that what I was on was a Chronicle scholarship. I mean, I always handed in my column, but at the end, I didn't work as hard on it as I probably do on them now.
There are a lot of Q&As on your blogs. Do you transcribe them yourself?
Yes. It's tedious. I just recently got one of those little recorders, digital recorders.
Yes.
But my handwriting as I get older is really bad, and I can't read it as well. So I do that, and plus in blogs, you sort of have to have the correct words. So I've been doing that, and I have a little earpiece I put in, and I just like the young guys. I just sit there and type away, and I'm getting pretty good at it. Now, Luke, I'm going to tell you, if it's okay with you, I'm going to give you till 9 o'clock. It's
okay.
About 10 of now, because my wife is now yelling down to me. I promised I'll do something with her. I hope
okay, great. No, that's great. No. This is awesome. Like the co-author of Freakonomics, he wrote a book on Franco Harris, a book about heroes, because Franco Harris was his hero when he was a kid. So I feel a little bit like him, because you were my hero when I was like 18, 19, 20. So this is a real blast for me.
Well, I hope so. I hope I'm doing okay for you.
Oh, no, this is amazing stuff. Let me just think about what you've been saying and make the most of the last few minutes. Do you believe in IQ?
God, that's such an interesting question. I want to tell you why. I'm going to give you a little background. Every year, the faculty at the writing faculty at University of San Francisco has to give a reading for the student body. It sort of equals the scales. And I'm currently writing an essay, like a memoir, and part of it is my mom giving me an IQ test when I was a kid. So I'm actually writing about IQ right now. She brought home the IQ test because she was a sixth grade teacher. You got it in the sixth grade. She was a sixth grade teacher in a different school from mine, but it was standardized. They gave it in every school in New York that Friday. So Saturday morning, I finished breakfast, and she says, "Are you done?" And I said, "Yeah." And she says, "Are you relaxed?" I said, "Sure, Mom. What's going on?" She goes, "See this here?" And I looked, and she says, "This is the IQ test you took yesterday. I want you to fill it out exactly how you filled it out yesterday." So, because she wanted to know my IQ. So I guess the enlightened answer would be I don't believe in IQ because it's a numerical number on intelligence, but deeply in my heart, I believe in IQ as much as I believe in Judaism, because that happened that Saturday morning, and always in my house, the two questions would be, is he Jewish? Is he smart? And those, I always think about those things. Now, whatever creativity I have has nothing to do with my IQ. I know that. It's a different thing. But I am aware that I'm a fairly intelligent person, and I tie that into my IQ.
Do you have any thoughts on the decline of the newspaper as a business proposition and a journalistic proposition?
It breaks my heart. I love a newspaper. I love the way they look. I love the way they feel. I love the way they crackle. I worry about being out of a job, and some of my friends are out of jobs. I hate the idea. I'm very conservative in my mentality, and I hate the idea that mode of thinking and reading and behaving is becoming extinct. I'm not thrilled with what's replacing it. So it's a cultural passing. It's sort of a death, and it makes me very sad. I love the way the New York Times looks. It's not only that I really like the paper, but Sunday morning when I look at that front page, I like the type, I like the layout, I like the way it looks.
Do you think there might be real significant physical differences between different types of races that might account for why there are a higher percentage of certain races in certain sports and certain positions? And long-distance athletes come from a particular part of Africa, and sprinters, I think, tend to come from a certain part of the Caribbean. Do you have any thoughts?
I'm not. I have no expertise in that field, so whatever I would say would be ridiculous. So I'm just going to pass on that one.
How do you feel about how race is covered by sports writers?
Okay. That's the hardest question you've asked me. I know that African American athletes feel that they're basically covered by a white press, and that there's some sort of a cultural barrier, and that we don't understand them or represent them quite accurately. And my feeling is they're probably right. But because I'm a white guy, I don't understand. I don't have their point of view. I have my point of view. I do think it's an issue. I think it would be great if there were more African American sports writers, and if they weren't only covering the NBA. You know, they always they put them on the NBA, and that's a stereotype as well. I wish they were all over the place. More. But if you're asking me, is there a resentment from white writers to black athletes, I don't think so. I mean, I haven't seen that. I think there's conflict between athletes and writers. I don't think there's any more between writers and black athletes.
I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest, faux pas that you can make in educating